Well, hello there. Welcome to Relationship Coaching Live. If you've been waiting for the universe to drop your soulmate at the farmer's market while you both reach for the same organic pineapple, maybe this one's for you. Today, we are blowing the soulmate myth wide open, and not with bitterness, but with brains and bravery. We are diving deep into the science of attraction and attachment, exposing the fantasy of the one, and giving you practical, soul nourishing tools to build the kind of love that doesn't rely on fate, but on conscious choice. You're going to hear stories from people who chased the dream, crashed into the wall, and came back with more clarity and joy than they ever imagined. You're going to leave this episode with tools you can use this week to nurture real, healthy connection. Because, spoiler alert, there's no one right person, but there is a right process. Every moment is a chance to inspire, uplift, and thrive. What better way to start your day than with a mug that's more than just a mug? It's your muse. Sip your coffee, tea, or hot cocoa while sipping on some self love with positive affirmations mugs for you. Your hat isn't just an accessory, it's your daily reminder to shine bright and vibe high. With our positive affirmations headwear for you, every step you take spreads love, joy, and confidence. From self love is your superpower to dream big and create your own story, our mugs and headwear remind you to keep thriving one positive affirmation at a time. Your vibe attracts your tribe. So let your mug and your muse inspire the world. Positive affirmations, mugs, and headwear for you. Start your journey of positivity today because you're worth it. Always. Well, that was a little positive affirmation intro so that we can start this on a positive note. I'm not like toxic positivity, don't get me wrong. I'm not like that. We're going to really get deep into everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, about the allure of soulmates. And that's the first thing we're going to talk about, the allure of soulmates. So, I go by segment. So, this is the first segment, the allure of soulmates. Now, let's just begin with the myth itself. From Plato's idea of soul halves to Disney's love at first sword fight scenes, right? We've been sold a dream that love should feel cosmic and complete us instantly. Well, there is actually something called narrative psychology and led by McAdams that says that stories shape our expectations. Interesting. Well, first of all, we have been indoctrinated, especially women, to find our Prince Charming. There's fairy tales and there's like legends and things and everything that leads us to believe that we are going to find the one. Yeah. Um, that's one of the stories that shapes our expectations. The other one is the one that we have in our head. Like, oh, yeah, I'm going to find the one and live happily ever after. Nothing wrong with having fantasies, but be careful what you think and feel because that's what's going to happen. But if it doesn't happen the way that you think it will happen, then that's not very positive, is it? Because, okay, so let me explain. Like, yes, you can put out there, I'm into quantum physics, right? So you can put out there with your thoughts and emotion what you want. Great. But then there's the fantasy part of it, right? That part is not what we're going to get, maybe. What we're going to get is, yeah, maybe somebody who matches us, who's good for us, but not exactly that crazy, like over the top romantic thing. And that's okay. So I lower your expectations. I always say lower your expectations. And when things come to you, you're going to be shocked, happily surprised. All right. There's another, because I back everything with scientific insights, right? So there is also Helen Fisher's research that says that early attraction floods our brains with dopamine, cortisol, and oxytocin. Those are cortisol is actually the stress hormone, but dopamine and oxytocin are the love, the good hormones. And when we're flooded with all those hormones, we might get a little confused. I mean, it's happened to me several times, not just once, unfortunately. That's why I'm doing this. And especially when I thought the other person was the one and they were very much into me and I was into them. And, we had this, oh my God, you're the one. I've been waiting for you all my life. And when that relationship didn't work out, and I found out he realized, not found out, but that he was a malignant narcissist, then wow, that was my expectations went, my fantasy went. So be careful of the fantasy part of it, okay? And also be careful of the hormones. So, um, so psychodynamics. What is the psychodynamics of this? The projection that we put out there, that what we want, what we are looking for to fill in the emptiness sometimes is filling the gaps in knowledge with our fantasies, right? So what that means is the projection of what we see as romantic and as the one is going to probably not match exactly what we get. And so, yes, it's great to find, to want a partner that aligns with you. But another thing is like the one, the only one in the universe. There's not one soulmate, and soulmates are not necessarily romantic. That's been my experience. Um, so the promise of the one, what is the promise of the one? We have to address that issue, right? It's the perfect understanding, the effortless chemistry, the endless passion. And let me tell you, I did have that with my ex, but he was not the one, because there is not the one. They're all either lessons or they're companions for life. Some people find their companion for life, and that's amazing. But a lot of, even the companion for life, they are a mirror to you. So you have to work through stuff. So either way, right? So now, what are the risks of this promise of the one and believing that there's only one person out there for you? Um, you delay the conflict, right? If there's any conflict, you delay your conflict skills. Um, there's a lot of disappointment from unmet expectations. There's also confusion between fantasy and reality. That is a very important thing that I really want. If anything, I want you guys to take away from this podcast episode that, yes, fantasy and reality are two different things. It's okay to have fantasies, nothing wrong with that. But reality, honey, that's a whole different vibe to the fantasy, because we're all humans, right? Nobody's perfect and nobody will be able to fulfill your fantasy. Some people say, their partner does, and that's amazing. That's wonderful. But that's not the common denominator, right? Yeah. So anyway, like a common denominator among all of us. There might be one or two, but okay. So here's a little practical tip or a mini tool for you. Name the movie in your head. Okay. Name the movie that this person you want is going to be, and just name it. Like for me would be the Aligned Man, right? It's a bad movie title, but that's what it would be. Write it in one sentence and then add, in real life, I will, and follow it with a conscious action, like asking deeper questions early on. Yes, because when we get caught in the fantasy, right, we're like, we see the red flags, but we don't address them, and we don't ask very important questions about their beliefs, their personality, who they really are. And it's kind of superficial, even though sometimes it looks like it's deep, but the other person also is going to tell you what you want to hear. Remember that too, right? That's another thing to keep in mind. That's happened to me so many times. Um, so then, so add, in real life, I will, and follow it with a conscious action, right? And like asking deeper questions. Because if not destiny, then what, right? So anyway, let me do a little bit of video. I'm going to show you a video, and we'll be right back after this. Grab your notebook, honey, because next up, we're talking about what your brain is really doing when you say, he or she is my soulmate. All right. Are you tired of breakups leaving you feeling like a soggy tissue? Well, darling, it's time to shake things up. I'm Grace Fraga, certified relationship coach by IAP, and I've got the ultimate cure for your post-breakup blues. Introducing Love at First X, a humorous guide that takes the sting out of a heartbreak and turns it into your best comeback story. From crying on your pillow to dancing in the kitchen, this book is your sassy, laugh out loud companion. But wait, it gets better. I've created exclusive bundle packages at the State of Grace shop, designed to give you the TLC you deserve. Get everything from one-on-one coaching with yours truly to personalized breakup recovery tools. Let's face it, honey, we're turning your breakup into a glow-up. So whether you're crying over an ex or ready to move on like a boss, I've got your back. You can laugh, learn, and level up with my coaching and my book. Because, let's be real, breakups are just a detour on the road to fabulous. Visit www.thestateofgraceshop.com to get your bundle today. Let's flip the script on breakups together. All right, so let's go to segment number 2. What your brain is doing when you say soulmate. Okay. So that heart racing, sweaty palm energy, right? 100% real. That's there. It's real. But it's not proof of permanence. It's your brain prioritizing. Let's get into scientific insights. Dopamine reward systems crave novelty. Yes. I'm going to put an example with J-Lo. Forgive me, J-Lo, but I think that she's addicted to that dopamine feeling of the first months or years of that it's just the excitement, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people are addicted to that. And it's about the novelty. But guess what? Once the novelty is gone, then the routine sets in, right? You know that person, and some people, you always find something about them, sometimes not very good about them, but that dopamine reward system about craving the novelty, and I found out about him, this about him, about her. It's slows down, and then it's kind of gone after a few years. So you have to be careful that the hormones don't take over. All right, use your brain. Yes, the hormones, it's a good feeling, it's great, but use your brain. Oxytocin bonds us fast, especially with physical closeness. Absolutely. And that's why being intimate early on, some people it works. For some people it works, that's great. But for some people, they bond really fast, and that physical closeness will kind of cloud your judgment, because that oxytocin kind of clouds your brain a little bit, because you're just bonding with this person, right? And sometimes it is love, and sometimes it's just chemistry, right? So we have to be discerning. Again, use your brain. So there is something called Tenov's limerence, which is euphoric obsession plus uncertainty equals intoxicating mix. So you have that euphoric obsession that, I am so excited to be with this person, and this person is my person, and he's my soulmate, she's my twin flame, or whatever, right? You believe in. And there's also the uncertainty, like, what's going to happen? Is it going to work? Are we going to be together forever? And that is intoxicating. It really is. I've experienced it, and I can attest to that. That is very intoxicating, for sure, you guys. So here is actually a story of one of my fans. If you feel like you want your story, told here live on Relationship Coaching Live, please message me. First, follow me so I can get your DMs. Follow me on Instagram at the State of Grace Fraga and send me your story. I'd be happy to change your name if you want to, whatever, whatever. But here is Jess. This is not the name of the person. Lightning, lightning with a touring musician. Oh, girl, those, those are like big time oxytocin because it's so exciting, isn't it, to see your person on stage and people loving them. It's just super. I've been there. And also, I'm a stand up comic. So I think people also, some men even have told me, that that's kind of like a turn on anyway, but whatever. No value combos. First real conflict, explosion, right? That dopamine, oxytocin, it's like working overtime, girl. And boom, when you have a real conflict, it's explosive. They hit pause, did the work, and rebuilt from clarity, not chemistry. Yes, they did that. That's what she says, that we hit pause, did the work, and rebuilt from clarity, not chemistry. I love that. Clarity, not chemistry. Clarity comes from your intellect, right? And your emotions too. They bring you clarity. When you mix those two together, when your mind and your emotions are in alignment, that's, in my personal opinion, when you make the best decisions. You really do. If you listen to just one or the other, if they conflict, you have to reassess what's going on, right? All right, let me give you practical tips because that's what I do. Start a chemistry versus compatibility list. That's a great idea, right? So, what's the chemistry and what's the compatibility? Like, oh, we have a great sex, and then compatibility. He likes to watch Harry Potter, whatever, and I like to watch Sex and the City. Yeah, that could be worked on, but then you have a lot of non-compatible things, and that's not going to work out, even if the chemistry is amazing. It could work out. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you get these couples that you're like, how does it work? I don't get it, but it works. So go figure, right? All right. So ask value-based questions by date 4. How do you handle stress? What's your definition of commitment? Right? You want to know about those things. How do you handle your stress? What if they go crazy? Or what if they just scream and yell at the person they love? And maybe they're not going to tell you the truth, right? And you're going to get the real deal when they're really stressed, which might be a good thing, like they might deal with it amazingly or they might deal with it terribly. We don't know, right? And also the commitment part. That's very important. If you want commitment and the other person is up in the air about that, that might not work because what you want and what they want doesn't match. Again, compatibility, right? That's not compatible, possibly. Or it's compatible. Maybe both want commitment, and that's amazing. Chemistry, remember, is a spark. Attachment is the firewood. Yeah, exactly. Because once you're attached, girl, that flame is going all the way from here to high heaven. I'm telling you, I've been there. Okay, so let's go to segment 3. And here we have attachment styles aren't destiny, but they matter. So attachment isn't fixed. It's like a working draft, but it does guide your reactions and closeness strategies. It really does. So let's go to the scientific insights. This is going to be a short podcast episode, but it's going to be straight to the point, baby. We're not BSing. All right. So Bowlby, I'm not sure, Ainsworth and Kazan and Shaver. Okay. Um, they say that attachments can be, there's 4 types. This is like the people that talk about it. I'm just citing it. I'm not, I haven't read all their stuff, but Bowlby, I guess you pronounce it that way, Ainsworth, Hazan, and Shaver. So there's 4 attachment styles: the secure one, the anxious one, the avoidant, and the disorganized. And these styles affect how we handle conflict, closeness, and repair. So I think that maybe informing ourselves about these different types of attachment styles is going to help you know about the person, a little more about the person without them even telling you, right? So we have to kind of do our homework. Let me tell you, relationships are a lot of work. So if you're not ready to do the work or you're really busy, be careful because, yeah, your success might also be determined by the amount of time that you have to invest in the relationship and in knowing the person and knowing who they really are. Um, Attachment also can shift with therapy, safety, and intention. Yes. So, if you have an anxious attachment style, which I think at some point in my life I had that because I was very insecure. I think that with therapy and also with being more secure about myself and really having the agenda of staying away from that type of style of attachment, I've come a long way and now I don't have that style of attachment. I don't know what mine would be. Maybe kind of going towards secure at this point. Um, okay, so here's another fan story, and this one is Marco. He's an avoidant, right? He felt smothered by love and used micro promises and rescheduled reconnection with his partner. He went from shutdowns to intimacy with therapy. So, wow. So, the avoidant one, he felt smothered by love. Do you ever feel smothered by love? Let me know in the comments. And remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Okay? All right. So, here are some practical exercises for you. The protest map. Identify test behaviors and replace with direct requests. Very important. For avoidance, schedule connection rituals. For example, Monday walk, Thursday dinner. Okay. So, your style, this is the conclusion, your style doesn't lock you out of love, it just sets the terrain. Let's go to a little video and I'll be right back. All right. All right. So let's go to segment number 4. So here is why believing in destiny can quietly kill your relationship and what to believe instead, excuse me. If you believe the perfect person will just get you, friction can feel like failure. But if you believe in growth, friction becomes feedback. Yes. So here's a fan story. And like I said, I'm going to keep this one short. Uh, this is the little summary about Lena and Priya, excuse me. They fought about chores. So they actually had a meeting, right? And they decided that they were going to have peace. So it's very important to communicate with your partner, right? So the destiny believes, the people that believe in destiny quit early when challenged. But the growth oriented partners build stronger relationships over time, like Lena and Priya, right? So that's the difference between like the destiny and the growth. Yes, you can feel like this is my destiny partner, and that's okay, but don't let that take over the fact that you need to confront things and work on the relationship. So you can have a mix of both, and it's okay. But the growth part is very, very important. So reframe a fight like Lena and Priya did as data and ask what one skill and one boundary would help next time. That's it. That's the way to go. And it's not going to be perfect, right? Because we are going to be like, okay, this is going to work. Okay, fine. And then the next fight might have the same pattern as the former fight. So but at least you had talked about it and you're going to be more conscious about it, and you're going to call it out. One of you probably is going to call it out rather than keep fighting about it, right? All right. Let's go to segment 5. Let me get the segment 5. All right. What actually predicts staying power? All right, let's cut through the noise. What really predicts long-term success? Okay. So here's some scientific insights. The Michelangelo effect, growing into each other's best selves. I love that. Yes, because, and that's what when I say I want an aligned person, it's somebody who is working on themselves towards their healing, deprogramming themselves of things that are completely useless and go against their well-being, right? And so if you both grow into your best selves, it doesn't matter if one reaches, level 3 and the other one is at level 2. It doesn't matter. If you're both working towards it, then that's going to work. You're going to have a higher success rate, right? And here is the self-expansion theory. It says that novelty maintains excitement. I love that, right? Yes, absolutely. Uh, if you have any comments, if you're watching, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. If you have any experiences, with the soulmate experience or anything that resonates with you that I'm talking about, let me know. Okay. Um, so remember to have this is good for staying power. Okay, maintain a 5-to-1 positive to negative interaction ratio. That's very important. Have daily connection rituals like kiss or eye contacts. Or I remember one of my exes, I was married to him. He left little notes every morning and they were so sweet. And then I would call him and thank him and tell him nice things too. So that really kind of kept us going longer than we would have if that wouldn't have been. So that was really smart of him. Um, so have like a weekly state of the union meeting. I know. Just make sure that you just have a meeting and be like, just tell each other what bothers you, what doesn't bother you, because sometimes we keep things inside, right? And so just make sure that if you have something that bothered you or that you want to talk to your partner, just have those meetings. And maybe you can have it over coffee. You can have it like as a ritual, right? Once a week. I would. Monthly novelty date. Try something new together. That is fun. Some people love to like scuba dive, skydive, or do crazy stuff. I'm more into let's go watch a movie or go to a museum, right? I'm not a very adventurous that way, but some people like to do that. Do it. That's amazing. So love isn't just how you feel, it's what you do. All right. Let's go to segment number 6. All right. So I have a lot of stories. This is the fan story roundtable. Okay. So I'm going to give you the tea, like the little story. Okay. It's not them talking to me, but it's just giving me the story. So, story with Evan. Evan mistook anxiety drop off for loss of love, started tracking care behaviors, and now calls calmness peace, not boredom. Boredom. Well, I can't talk boredom, right? So a lot of people, yeah, that's so crazy because anxiety sometimes gives us this feeling that we're in love, and the butterflies in your stomach, they're anxiety, not love sometimes, right? I had them with my malignant narcissist ex. And uh, I was married to somebody that was very calm and peaceful, and I did mistake it for boredom. I was like, it's kind of boring, but my mom would always say, "Huh, Graciela, boring is the best way to be, because the ones that are too fun, they're going to give you problems and anxiety." And my mom used to tell me that. So whenever I complained that my ex-husband was boring, she would remind me of that. And she was right, I'm telling you. So here's Amara's story. She believed in a twin flame. The twin flame got smaller. And after the breakup, she built a relationship with relationship. Journal. I can't talk today, you guys. I don't know what's wrong with me. Journal, Grace, journal. She started a new partnership with values and breakup plan. That is amazing. So she had her little breakup plan. If this happens, this is what I'm going to do. That's amazing. See, that's like somebody who is figuring out, okay, it might work, it might not work, right? And so I think that's brilliant. I love that. Okay, so Rafi and Noor, religious mismatch and family pressure. They created hybrid rituals and community guided dialogue and built the love by design, not default. I love that. I love that. So they created hybrid rituals. So maybe one was, I don't know, I'm just making it up, Jewish, and the other one was Christian. So they mixed them and made a hybrid ritual, like a Hanukkah Christmas thing. That's great. I love that. And of course, community guided dialogue. That's amazing, that you talk to your families and maybe explain your situation and try to get them to jump on board, right? And okay, segment number 7. Build your own love blueprint. So here's your living relationship map, your real life love blueprint. Now, I want you to write them down or just tape this, okay? So, vision and values, write 10 values each, star the top 10, and find the overlaps. Number 2, conflict protocol, timeout phrase, reconnection window, and repair script. What I heard, what I felt, what I can own, what I need. That's important. Put it on you, not the other person. That you make me this and you, no, 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 no. What I heard, what I feel, what I need. Okay. Number 3, rituals of connection. Daily greet or daily, just have a daily ritual that you do. Like my ex used to leave me the little notes. Have weekly meetings, like we were talking before. Just sit down and be like, you know what really bothered me? I felt, and always put it on you, what I felt, right? Um, have a monthly novelty, like we were saying, do something fun, something different, and a quarterly retreat. Now, that can mean a lot of things. It can mean maybe you go out with your girls or he goes out with his guys and they stay away from each other, or they go together to a retreat, to like a very peaceful place that they can just relax and talk. Number 4, growth plan. Pick one skill each quarter, like erotic communication, for example, or financial clarity. Number 5, support net. One couple friend, one pro support, a coach, a therapist, an elder. Always find a support community, a support net for sure. And here's an affirmation: I don't need a perfect person. I need a willing partner, and I will be one. All right. So here are the closing thoughts. The soulmate myth is not evil, it's just incomplete. Attraction just starts the story, and skill, courage, and ritual write the story. So if you're waiting for a sign, this is it, honey. Stop asking, is this the one? And start asking, are we two people willing to do the work in a way that feels good and real? Well, thank you for spending your time, heart, and curiosity with me today. Let's keep building love, not by magic, but by design. If this episode helped you rethink love, please hit subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone who's tired of chasing the one. Tag me on socials with your biggest takeaway and the ritual you're going to try this week. Let's build love worth keeping. See you next time on the next episode of Relationship Coaching Live.